Hello, everyone. Welcome to Environmental Peacebuilding Association's new initiative called Spotlight. In this series, we will explore people and stories behind environmental peacebuilding. And today we are thrilled to welcome Larry Swatuk, who is a full professor in the School of Environment, Enterprise and Development at the University of Waterloo in Canada, and also is serving on the board of directors as vice president of the Environmental Peacebuilding Association. Larry, welcome to Spotlight.
Thank you very much, Phuket. Nice to be here.
So it's great to have you here. So I would like to begin. Could you please start by telling us about your current job?
Well, as you said, I'm a professor in the School of Environment, Enterprise and Development, which is a mouthful. We can just call it SEED for short, at the University of Waterloo. So at that job, it's like every other kind of academic job where I serve in a number of different roles. I teach a lot of courses. I teach courses on water and two water courses, one called Water and Security, another one called Water Human Development and Security, which I built into the Masters of Development Practice program, which we've been running now for about a decade. And so I'm the director of that. And this MDP program is part of a global association. So we are 43 different universities around the world, many of them in North America, but a good balance across the rest of the world. We actually have our annual summit in person this year in Dublin. So I work on that, and there's a lot of typical things as a senior professor, you're involved in all kinds of strategic planning. So as a member of the Water Institute at the University of Waterloo, I'm involved in the strategic planning around that thing. A lot of, things that are not very exciting to the average person or even to me, but are so necessary in life. And another thing that happens as you become a senior person is you pick up all of these affiliations along the way, and some of them turn into quite nice, useful things. So I have a position as an external research fellow at the Center for Foreign Policy and Strategic Studies at Dalhousie University, and we have a climate change, migration, and conflict project that's starting up. So I'm an ordinary professor in most ways, yeah.
I think that's very interesting, and I would like to ask my second question. So, how you choose this career path?
Yeah, that's a good question. Did I choose it, or did it choose me? This is more interesting. I often tell a story where, because you try to give a narrative to help make sense of how you ended up where you end up, right? And I think in the late 1990s, there was a Canadian author named Carol Shields, and she wrote this book called Larry's Party. And of course, at Christmas time, I received about 6 copies of this book, Larry's Party, and everybody thought it was so amusing to give it to me. And in that book, she uses the metaphor of garden mazes to explain the kind of path, the absence of planning and strategic direction by basically middle-class white people in the Western world. And you sort of follow things, opportunity comes, you go that way and this way. And of course, it made me very angry, this book. The first time I read it, I was like, I hate this. This is not true. Then, of course, I realized that I hated it because it is true, that in many ways, you don't choose your path, that you have interests, you follow your interests, and then doors will open, opportunities will come your way, and that's how you end up in this sort of thing. So, and then in some ways, something might happen that opens that particular door, right? That you meet somebody and they create an opportunity, and you follow that path, and and events happen and so on. So I don't think you could plan to have this type of career. If you want to follow my path, I think you're going to get in behind me in the maze, and you'll go in your own direction. So, but I think I feel like as long as you're true to yourself, your own interests, you remain faithful to what you believe in, then as things move and change and so on and so forth, well, it all adds up and makes sense, and sometimes leads you exactly where you hoped you would be, but never thought you could plan in any way to end up in that place.
Mm. As you said, career is something not you can plan. I'm 100%. So in this regard, I would like to ask you that what have been some of the most rewarding moments, opportunities in your career? So you.
Well, I generally think about three things. So my and in a way, the first two are linked. I'm most proud of my participation in the creation of WaterNet. So WaterNet is this multi-university association of teaching, training, and research across Southern Africa. And and I had been in Botswana for 11 years, and I was there at the creation of, or at the invention of WaterNet, and was part of the team, the big team that eventually created that. And that came online in, I think, maybe the year 2000 now. So it's about 23 years in the making. There's about 16, like it's all Southern African Development Community countries, but also Uganda, Kenya, a few others are involved in it, where, among other things, we offer a Master's of Science in Integrated Water Resources Management, and have now trained probably 750 young people across Southern and Eastern Africa over those 20 years. And I was recently at the WaterNet annual meeting in South Africa in October, and a lot of these people that I trained in the early days are now dean and senior professor and head of some big think tank, and so it's extremely rewarding to see that. The second one is, I'm very proud of the fact that I've acted as a co-guest editor of 4 volumes of Physics and Chemistry of the Earth. And I say that because I'm a social scientist. My first 2 degrees were in political science. And to see your name on the front of Physics and Chemistry of the Earth is extremely rewarding. Now, how did I end up there? Well, these are special issues attached to the WaterNet conference, where after a peer review, some papers get published, and it's testimony to the transdisciplinary nature of my own approach to things, but also the way everybody involved in this organization thinks about water security, sustainable water resources use, and so on and so forth, right? So it's this beautiful collection of people across disciplines. And yeah, so when I see that the cover of that journal, I'm very excited. And then more recently, my last one, I'm very proud of. It just happened in March. I work for a group called W12 Plus as a kind of a side gig. I'm the resident water expert in this alliance between a variety of NGOs. And we facilitated the development and creation and launching of the first ever Water Institute in South Sudan. Along with, we had a training in water quality treatment and testing, where we graduated 16 young people from 4 different South Sudanese states, and we're planning to mount another one in June. How we do that, our role in the background is in some ways the strategic planning around it, including making friends and finding money. So if anybody on this call has a big pile of money under their mattress, you please give me a call after this. So those are the 3 things that always come to mind now when I think about, in addition to, all the students that have gone on after having passed through my classroom and gone on to great things, which is every teacher's reward.
Fantastic, and it's great to hear about your work and how effective it is. And also, I would like to ask the other side of the coin. So, I mean, what were some of the biggest challenges you have faced in your career?
Well, I would say in the early days, it was finding a job, right? Like it was not easy when I came through with my PhD to find a position. And I'll have some, I mean, if I offer some advice for the young folks on here, what I did was I was willing to relocate continents to actually take a job, and I never looked back after I did that. So so it was that trying to find that first position, or place yourself in a very crowded market. That was really hard. I would say another one, mid-career, not so much now. In the first 4 or 5 years I spent in Africa, a challenge was to be taken seriously by the donor community. So, working in water resources, other things too, tourism, forest management, other kinds of land management that I've worked on, conservation, the place is overrun with particularly European donors of all different sorts and sizes. And they would run into me and not know what to make of me. In some cases, they only met me first if they brought me to Sweden, for example, to give some advice to Swedish CETA, and then they would see me and they'd see I'm this white Canadian guy, when they thought they expected some African with this Swatuk, this kind of name that was, what is this name, and so that was interesting, but on the other side of that, there was never any problem of becoming accepted within the broad sub-Saharan community. It was like, you have skills, we have skills, let's work together. No one judged you based on some kind of preconceived notions. But again, like, I'm back to my point about being true to yourself, and like, head down, work hard, be honest. I think that was what ultimately won the donors over, was my candidness, my willingness to say it as I've seen it, based on the empirical facts as best as I could gather them, and so that kind of opened doors, and that so that rather than trying to be some sneaky person trying to manipulate your way into somewhere, just do your own thing and be true to yourself and be honest, and usually that results in positive outcomes.
This is so valuable. Thanks so much. And since you already touched upon, but I would like to ask specifically, is there any additional recommendation you would like to advise for young people, professionally, who would like to pursue their career in environmental peace building?
Well, the thing with a career in environmental peace building is there's many different entry points. And so I can only speak to, clearly the academic one, but also into a kind of the world of practice through consultancies and stuff like that, right? So because, for example, through W12 Plus, we've actually hired quite a few of my Masters of Development Practice students who since graduated, and you cherry pick those that you feel have the best alignment and capability with your project, and you hire them in, and so they, are they planning a career in environmental peace building? I don't know, but they are in it now, right? I feel like a key message for everybody is don't be afraid to pick up, and go somewhere. Don't be afraid to relocate. I left Canada. My first job, I went to Nigeria for a year. It was very difficult conditions to work under, but I left and I went, and then, like I said, it was part of the maze. It opened up doors that I was able to move and so on. So, don't lose an adventurous spirit. Don't be fearful of the world around you. Embrace it, and don't be afraid to relocate. I would say also that you have to follow your passion. Like, don't try to please others. Please yourself first, right? I think that's a really important thing. And along the way, you'll make friends. You'll find, like we always talk about networking. This is a kind of a networking event. you will find like-minded people who are differently placed in along the career path and so on and so forth. And along with that, I would say don't overplan, right? I mean, like you can't, life is a maze in many ways. Things will happen that like COVID, which throws everybody, into a chaotic state for a while, trying to make sense of things. So, be flexible, be willing to, of course, that's harder when you have partners, but nothing is ever, my last name Swat means negotiator, right? It's a Ukrainian word for negotiate, Swat. So you can negotiate, that's always an effective plan with your partner. And then last thing, of course, is to lean on your advisors. If you're in the academic world, right? Send the extra email, be a pest. I always tell my students, like, if I don't respond, it's not because I'm not interested or paying attention to you. It's just there's so many things. We're all busy, right? I'm a kind of a nodal point for many people. So if you keep being the squeaky wheel, you'll get the oil eventually. And so I think, don't be afraid to embrace the world, be true to yourself, follow your passion, don't overplan, and ask for help, and we'll help when and where we can, right?
Thank you so much. And while we are talking about planning career, my last question is about some of your goals for the future. I mean, both personally and professionally in the field of environmental peace building.
Yeah. So in specifically in the field of environmental peace building, I think that my primary goal is to help build this association, and I mean the association. So most academic associations, they have a conference, they have a journal, people come together, and it's But I see I want the Environmental Peace Building Association to be much more than that. I want it to be a facilitator. I want it to be an educator. I want it to be an actor, right? I want us to engage in education and outreach. We have that MOOC, but there's probably a lot of other things that we can do. I want us to engage in research, not just, through the journal, but perhaps focused research projects. We have all of our different interest groups. Why not try to put those interest groups on a task, some kind of action-based research, perhaps. We can be a little, some kind of a consultancy, to respond to particular needs, right? Which leads into the practice side of things, to conduct trainings, to engage in consultancies, to do those sorts of things. And I really want to put my time on the executive toward that. I think that would be how I would want to answer that question.
Thank you very much. This is the end of the interview, and on behalf of the entire team at Environmental Peace Building Association, we sincerely appreciate your valuable contributions, and it was an honor to have you. Thank you very much.
Well, thanks. That's very kind.